Namaste viewers, welcome to Gnana Degula channel. In this video we will see the meaning of VRITTHIH. It's a very very important word which is to be understood in a right spirit and the right way. This Vrtti is foundational in understanding the dynamics of the mind, cognition, perception in the Hindu philosophical traditions. Especially in yoga, Vedanta, it is to be understood in the right way. Let us go through in detail about this, about the meaning and then explanation on this Vrtti. But before we go to the details, as usual, I request you to please like, share and then subscribe to my channel. I also request you to put your comments in the comment box. Now, this Vrtti, it's a Sanskrit term. VRTTIH means thought, state, mode of being, or modifications. So in the context of the mind, it refers to the modifications or fluctuations, thoughts, whatever that comes in the mind, that is Chitta. These fluctuations in the mind occur when the senses, all these five senses bring in data, bring in all those, whatever they see, whatever they perceive, whatever they hear, all these things from the external world, what is outside world, and that leads the mind to process and interpret the sensory inputs. Whatever the inputs that come, it processes. Now, the most important aspect here is that this Vrtti is momentary. It keeps on changing. It is compared to monkey also. Monkeys, they keep on just wavering their head, doing lot of activities, We call it as monkey activities, na? Markata Buddhi, that we call it as. So, this Vrtti is momentary. It keeps on rapidly changing. And it is shaped by memory also. Some memory is there. Perception, the present perception, and conditioning, all these things, how it is controlled. These three aspects, memory, perception and conditioning, is also important. Now, the process of cognition, that is VRTTIH, how this is Vyapti, what is the Kshetra and all those things, how it is. So, this goes like this: data collection by senses. That is Indriyas, Panchendriyas, all the external world provides stimuli which are perceived by the senses. All the sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, all these things. That is Panchendriyas. Then the formation of VRTTIH in the mind, formation of that resultant thing. The manas, the lower mind, receives the sensory inputs and undergoes a change. It keeps changing. Whatever it receives, it keeps changing to match the external data. So this, to match the external data, whatever that receives, that is. The change is called as VRTTIH, or mental modification. In English, we can call it as mental modification. Actually, this VRTTIH is that. It's a famous this thing, seeing a rope in the dim light. But there's not enough light, when you see a rope, you immediately construe it to be a snake. You think that it's a snake. That is misinterpretation, misrepresentation in the mind instead of the rope Vrtti. So that means there are a lot of misunderstandings, misinterpretations of whatever the inputs that are given, it is to be properly interpreted, properly understood. That is the lesson here. Now, this intellect, this Buddhi, it evaluates and decides on the nature of the object or nature of the incidents or whatever that is happening, based on the Vṛtti, which is presented by Vṛtti, presented by Manas. So this process, it is influenced by so many factors like the past experiences and the memory, whatever that is there in the mind, whatever that is. It is called as also Smriti. That means memory, whatever that has happened, it is recorded there. And some kind of hidden, some kind of latent impressions. That means it would have already decided some skaras, it would have gone through all those things. Those latent impressions also, this is influenced. Now, here there is one more this thing, consciousness, that is Chitta. This consciousness, it influences the Vṛtti, or it illuminates the Vṛtti, we can call it as. So, this Chitta, consciousness, pervades the Vṛtti to make it a living, to make it a perceivable, to make it into a reality which can be perceived. Without this Chitta, without this consciousness, the Vṛtti would remain inert. Whatever, it simply remains dull, or it doesn't have any action. So just as water takes the form of a wave, consciousness pervades and manifests through each Vṛtti, we can say like that. Now, here, what is the role of memory and perception? See, memory is Vṛtti. Smriti means memory. Each Vṛtti is shaped by prior knowledge, that means already stored knowledge, biases. It depends upon bias, you may have the right way or wrong way, whatever it is, bias, you are biased. And impressions, it's already imprinted on the memory, stored in the memory. Of course, this prior knowledge, biases, impressions, they are all in the memory. Someone is bitten by snake, or he would have heard that some snake has bitten somebody. It often interprets ropes as snakes due to their past experience. Not necessarily it would bite that person. The mere hearing of that, that is very dangerous, that all those kinds of things, it will interpret, it will wrongly interpret whatever things look alike that. If anything looks like that, even in the nights also, when you see something, some strange things, or in the dark night, you imagine that it is some kind of a devil, some kind of a Rakshasa. Then you get, you will interpret it in a different way. Now, this is where this perception versus reality comes. In the Vṛtti, in the mind, does not match the external object. So whatever the reaction, whatever that has processed in the mind, does not match the external object, an illusion or error occurs. That means whatever that is in the mind and whatever that you see, they both should match together. For example, mistaking a mirage for water. See, you see something, but actual thing is different and what you perceive is different. They do not match. So this when they do not match what the mind thinks and what the actual thing is there, it is an illusion. An error occurs. There are a lot of examples. A famous example is marriage for water. When you are moving in a desert, you see some kind of water just flowing. It's only an imaginary, it's only an illusion. It is not an actual thing. So here this mind does not match the external object, therefore it is called as an illusion. Like that, perception versus reality. Now, mind, it has as a collection of vrittis. The mind, Chitta, loosely termed Chitta, mind, is essentially a flow of transitory vrittis. Essentially continuous flow of transitory vrittis. Each vritti arises, each thought, vritti means thought or something, whatever it is, thought, action, all those things arises, stays momentarily, it doesn't stay forever, and dissolves. It may go to memory, it may not go to memory, or it might just simply dissolve, it may not be there at all. Much like waves of a surface on the ocean, something like that. Actually, they are not there, it just falls down as water, that's all, like that. The mind, modifications of this mind are constantly lit by consciousness, are constantly being fed by consciousness, without which perception cannot occur. Now, sage Maharshi Patanjali, he has described Vrittis in a lot of detailed this thing. In his Yoga Sutra, Vrittis into 5 kinds of Vrittis. So that is Pramana is one kind, that is correct knowledge, valid knowledge obtained through perception, inference and authoritative testimony. So like directly seeing a flower and recognizing it as a rose or whatever it is, the jasmine something, that is Pramanam. Then this is the right knowledge. Then there is some kind of a wrong knowledge or incorrect knowledge. Viparyaya. Viparya. That means misconceptions. You don't see that object as the correct one. It's a false knowledge, as in mistaking a rope for a snake. This rope snake, analogy is being used very frequently and very aptly in understanding these philosophical terms. So like here, this arises from improper interpretation of sensory data. This data, which the sensory objects, the eyes or ears or whatever, they don't properly interpret that. This viparya, it happens, incorrect knowledge. Then vikalpa. Vikalpa is another type of vritti. That is imagination or doubt, something different. Abstract constructs or ideas not grounded in direct perception. It's only imaginary. You just imagine something. You imagine there is something, some magical creature, something, some doubting whether something exists. It may not be there at all. In a dark room, there might be nothing, but you imagine that there is something like that. This is Vikalpa. Then you have this Nidra also. Nidra is also one of the Chittas. A state where mental modifications cease. In that absolute sleep state, you don't see anything, you don't feel anything, you don't have anything. But latent impressions remain active. There are some hidden impressions, they are there. Sleep is also considered as a very, sukshma vritti. Very sukshma vritti means subtle vritti, as it still affects the mind. There also, it is not totally, completely, it is this thing. Still it is active there, something like that. Then you have this memory, which is a great thing, how it, the mind, how it is being stored here. It's very, intriguing. recollection of past experiences, which influences how current vrittis are interpreted. See, it's already there, and whatever you observe, it keeps on matching that. It keeps on processing. It keeps matching. It finds out whether whatever that was earlier, and then it has any similarities, it has any or asymmetric thing, or it compares, and then it starts react. It starts giving the result. No, there are you can give a lot of examples. Recalling a loved one's face while looking at their photograph. See, you may not remember every time, but when certain things are triggered, then certain things are indicated. You start you will go to that original thoughts like that. So there are a lot of analogies for understanding. Just as an ocean manifests its wave, consciousness manifests through the vrittis. Each wave is transient, yet it is always water. Similarly, each vritti is a fleeting state of consciousness, like this, There are other things also, pot and clay. A pot is nothing but a clay in a specific form. Similarly, the vritti is the specific modifications of the mind. Like this, there are a lot of analogies being given. The lights and images. Consciousness is like a light source illuminating a projection on a screen. Supposing if you see a film, it's only a projection there. There is nothing there on that. You can see a lot of things there. Whatever from all all kinds of war scenes, love scenes, everything you can see. But when you take out this projector, nothing is seen. The vrittis are the images on the screen, constantly changing but visible due to that light only, like that. So, how do we reconcile vrittis with modern perspectives? How do we know that? The psychology, the concept of vritti aligns with the psychological idea of mental states and cognitive processing. Sensory inputs are interpreted by the mind, influenced by memory and conditioning, like this, The neuroscience, brain activity, neural paths, and synapses reflect the VRITTIH process. Different mental states correspond to distinct brain waves and patterns, like this it is there. Practical application in meditation. Meditation aims to quiet the vrittis, that is, bring down the vrittis. Chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, like this. Allowing the mind to reflect the pure consciousness, like a still pond reflecting a sky without it. So like this, there are a lot of meditative practices wherein you can calm down the mind, quiet the vritti and all those things. So, ಇದೊಂದು ರೀತಿ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆ ಆಗತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಇದು ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಿಂದ ಬಂದಂಥ ಸಂವೇದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಸಾರವಾಗಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡಂತೆ ಈ ಬುದ್ಧಿಗೆ ತಲುಪುತ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಗ್ರಹಿಸಿ ಈ ವೃತ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಏನೇನು ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಿಂದ ಬಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ತನ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಲವಾರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಮೆಮೊರೀಸು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಿಸಿ, ಈ ವೃತ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಿಸಿ ಒಂದು ನಿರ್ಧಾರ, ಒಂದು ಫೈನಲ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಪ್ರತಿ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಚಿತ್ತಾತ್ಮನಿಂದ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ಹೊಂದಿ ಜೀವಂತವಾಗಿ ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಇದು. ಈ ಒಂದೇ ಚಿದಾತ್ಮ ಒಂದೇ, ಆದರೆ ಅನೇಕ ವೃತ್ತಿಗಳ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ಅಲೆಯ ರೂಪಗಳಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಆದರೆ ಅದು ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗ್ತಾನೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ವ್ಯೂಯರ್ಸ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕೀ ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇ ಏನಂದರೆ, ಈ ವೃತ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ ಗ್ರಾಸ್ಪ್ ದಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೈಂಡ್. ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ, ಚಿತ್ತ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೈಂಡ್, ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪರ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ, ಮನಸ್ಸು ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆತ್ಮ, ಚಿತ್ತ, ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲದರ ಒಂದು ಇದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಬೈ ಕ್ವೈಟನಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೈಂಡ್, ಬೈ ಕ್ವೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಥ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್, ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಈ ಒನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್, ಒಂದು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಟ್ರೂ ಅನ್ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ದಿ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಚುಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಪ್ಷನ್, ಇದನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸಬಹುದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ಇಷ್ಟು ವಿವರಣೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೃತ್ತಿಹಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ I request you to please like, share and then subscribe to my channel. Please put your comments on this topic. Please post your comments in the comment box. Thank you viewers for your valuable time in listening to this video. Thank you.